Okay, so a really fascinating trade here to talk about. It's kind of a small trade, but could end up being a big deal depending on how things go. Just an interesting situation that has happened with Bryce Huff, who, let's go back a bit to 2013, where Hassan Reddick had, signed a deal with the Eagles, but entering the last year of his deal, he was wanting to get more money, and so he requested for, he basically said, I'm not going to play unless I get a bigger deal. The Eagles played hardball with him and essentially decided to just spend the money that they're going to be now saving with Hassan Reddick on Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff signed a 3-year deal with an average salary of $17 million per year. So not this massive deal, but a pretty decent deal there. Bryce Huff was a player who was really a rotational player for the Jets. He never played. His career high in snaps is 481 snaps in a season. So that's kind of what he's been at. So they said, hey, let's grab him. The Eagles like to have rotational guys. They don't need guys who are going to be out there, constantly. Huff did in that time period have 10 sacks. So, I mean, that's like a 20 sack pace, essentially. Just didn't play a ton. So they're, obviously that's not exactly how it works because he might have played more third downs and things of that nature. But he was also a bit of an analytics darling as well. So the Eagles said, sure, let's get this guy. He can replace Reddick. He did end up playing around 300 snaps last season and wasn't horrible in those snaps, but certainly was not the dominant force that you would expect, especially in a very good situation. He went back down to just 2.5 sacks. Again, outside of the 10-sack season, his career high in sacks is 3.5. He really hasn't played a ton. He's always been a guy who's just going to get some playing time, but not a ton. And ultimately, there was kind of a bit of a falling out, I think, over playing time and, with him and the Eagles. Also, I think, all that stuff. So ultimately, what has happened now is the Eagles have traded Bryce Huff to the San Francisco 49ers. This is something that the 49ers are giving up all we know now is a mid-round pick. I don't know if that's usually around, I feel like a 4th to 5th round pick is usually when they say mid-round pick. Could be a 3rd, but I'm going to guess around a 4th or a 5th, which is, not the worst move by the Eagles. Listen, you signed him. You thought it was going to work out. It didn't fully work out, but you still have plenty of other players there. You won a Super Bowl, so you're not too mad about this signing not fully working out. They're going to be saving some money with this. They're going to essentially be getting, so the Eagles will take on $9 million in salary. The 49ers are responsible for the $8 million for the rest of this season. My question is how much how much in this situation is I think that's just all the guaranteed money. So I'm pretty sure there's essentially a team option for the following year, if I'm reading this correctly, for the 49ers. So it's 1 year, maybe 2 years of a player who has shown some flashes and is still a very young player. He's 27 years old. It's kind of a surprise that this has sort of fallen apart the way that it did. Ultimately, though, it is a bit of a risk for the 49ers, who could definitely use an edge rusher. They drafted one, but you could use another guy there, right? Because who knows how rookies will play right away. So it's not the worst buy low candidate. If this hits, you're definitely making good things happen. But if it misses, you're losing a draft pick and some money on a guy who might not help you and also might only be there for 1 year. So there is a bit of a gamble, although, again, it's not a massive deal either way. But hey, as fans, we sometimes pretend like a 4th or 5th round pick doesn't matter. Those picks still do matter. That still is how you build contending rosters, right? Is by having draft picks like that. Look at how many 4th and 5th round picks are starting for the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So that stuff does matter, and it just helps you build out a roster in an affordable way as well, which is worth noting. So ultimately, I like this move from the Eagles' perspective. I like it from Bryce Huff's perspective, getting him in a new situation where he can maybe succeed. And I don't hate it from the 49ers' perspective. It is a bit of a gamble, but if it can work, then maybe you have an edge rusher for the next 7 years or so that can be a good player for your team. So there's definitely the upside. So yeah, interesting little situation. Want to make a video on. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.